in the quiet village of Lapford, Devon, where the river Yeo meanders through fields of clover and stone walls. The year 1861 marked the end of an era. The Reverend Jack Radford, rector of St. Thomas's Church for 36 years, passed away at the age of 72. A man of boundless vigor, Jack had been a force of nature in life. His booming voice filled the pews each Sunday. His long strides carried him across the parish to tend to the sick, and his infectious laughter echoed in the village square. Even in his final years, he'd climb the church tower to adjust the weather vane or chase errant sheep from the graveyard, with the zeal of a much younger man. When he died, felled by a sudden apoplexy, Lapford mourned not just a rector, but a whirlwind of a man who seemed too lively for death to claim. Jack was laid to rest in the churchyard he'd tended so diligently, beneath a sturdy stone cross carved with his name and dates. Reverend Jack Radford, 1789 to 1861. The village gathered for his funeral, their tears mingling with fond stories of his tireless spirit. But soon after the earth was tamped over his grave, something peculiar began to happen. The cross, hewn from Dartmoor granite and set deep in the ground, refused to stay upright. Within days of the burial, it was found tilted at an angle, as if nudged by an unseen hand. The sexton, a wiry man named Gideon Holt, righted it, muttering about loose soil. Yet, by the next morning, it leaned again, this time in the opposite direction. Whispers spread through Lapford. The older folk, steeped in the lore of Devon's haunted moors, saw meaning in the Restless cross. "It's Jack," said Widow Merriweather, her eyes sharp over her knitting. "He was never one to sit still, not in life, nor, it seems, in death." Gideon, practical but superstitious, tried securing the cross with iron pegs, but each dawn revealed it askew, sometimes turned entirely backward, as if Jack's spirit were pacing beneath the soil, unwilling to be confined. The phenomenon became a village fixation. Children dared each other to visit the churchyard at dusk, giggling nervously as they watched the cross for movement. Farmers passing by swore they heard faint humming, Jack's favorite hymn, "O God, our help in ages past," drifting from the grave on windless nights. The new rector, a dour young man named Percival Crane, dismissed the tales as pagan nonsense. But even he couldn't explain why his sermons were interrupted by the creak of stone shifting in the yard. By 1862, the cross's antics had drawn curious visitors from as far as Exeter, some calling it a miracle, others a curse. Gideon, now half convinced Jack's spirit was at play, enlisted the village mason, Tobias Finch, to reinforce the cross with a deeper foundation. They worked under a harvest moon, their lanterns casting long shadows, but as Tobias drove the final stake, he froze. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Gideon nodded, his throat dry. From the grave came a low chuckle, unmistakably Jack's, followed by a rustle like boots on gravel. The men fled, their tools abandoned. And the cross was found the next day, not just tilted, but lying flat, as if tossed aside in jest. The village council, pressured by Rector Crane, debated exhuming Jack's coffin to ensure he was truly at rest. But the idea was abandoned when Widow Merriweather and other elders protested, insisting Jack meant no harm. "He's just restless," she said. "Let him be, and he'll settle in time." Instead, they held a memorial service, singing Jack's beloved hymns and recounting his deeds, how he'd rebuilt the church roof after a storm, how he'd walked 10 miles to baptize a dying child. The cross stood upright for a week after, and hope flickered that Jack had found peace. But the respite was brief. Over the decades, the cross continued its dance, leaning, twisting, sometimes toppling entirely. Each generation of Lapford sextons wrestled with it, their efforts met with the same stubborn defiance. By the 20th century, the tale of Jack Radford's restless grave was a cornerstone of local lore, drawing folklorists and thrill-seekers alike. Some claimed to see a shadowy figure striding through the churchyard at midnight, tall and vigorous, pausing to tip the cross with a spectral hand. In 1995, the village decided to end the saga. A team of builders, armed with modern tools and a lorry-load of cement, descended on the churchyard. Under the watchful eyes of Lapford's residents, they encased the cross's base in a concrete slab, anchoring it so firmly that no force, natural or otherwise, could budge it. The work was done in silence, broken only by the clink of trowels and the murmur of prayers from the crowd. When the cement set, the cross stood rigid, immovable, its granite gleaming in the sun. Since that day, the cross has not stirred. Yet Lapford's folk still speak of Jack Radford, their voices tinged with fondness and unease. On quiet nights, when mist curls through the churchyard, some swear they hear a faint hum or the echo of a hearty laugh. The children, bolder now, play near the grave, but they avoid stepping on the concrete, whispering that Jack's energy lingers, trapped but not tamed. And in the heart of Devon, the tale of the restless rector endures, a reminder that some spirits, too lively for life, are too stubborn for death. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, like, subscribe and comment below.